Kunst and all.
Hey, welcome to Kunst and All. We are Lorenzo Alberti,
Nastasia Filippu,
and Francesco Ricci.
three dancers who are super passionate about giving you a peek behind the curtain of the art we create on stage.
In this podcast, we're diving deep into what really goes into putting on a show. It's not just about the dances you see on stage. We're talking about the whole crew, the orchestra, the costume designers, the health teams, the admin people, and everyone else who helps make a production happen.
Exactly. We want to share the stories of the folks you don't always see, but who make everything tick. It's all about the hard work, the teamwork, and the creativity that goes into bringing a performance to life. This is Kunst and All.
Today's guest is Brian Scalini, an Italian freelance choreographer living in Dresden, Germany. He started his career with a bachelor's degree in product design from the University of Bologna, but later shifted to professional dance. He danced with Tanzkompanie Landesbühnen Sachsen and worked on various projects in Dresden, including Semperoper and Staatsschauspiel. In 2018, he discovered his passion for choreography, blending dance with his design background. In 2022, he graduated from Palucca University of Dance Dresden with a Master's of Arts in Choreography. Over the years, Brian has created work for organizations like Theater Pforzheim, Palucca University, Compagnia de Danza de Almada, Tanzkompanie Landesbühnen Sachsen, and Tanzakademie Zurich, among others. His work has been featured in festivals worldwide. In 2023, he won first place at the Certamen Choreography Competition in Burgos with his work, Meet You in the Navel.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to this episode. Hi Tazi. Hi Lorenzo. Hi,
You
Brian.
forgot my name?
I was about to say Alberto. Sorry, let's repeat. Hello everyone. Welcome back to this episode.
Hi.
Today with us we have Brian.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being part of this. We're very happy, also because Brian is also a very good friend of ours. So we're very happy to dig a little bit into his life and let's see how it goes.
Yes.
So let's start from the beginning. No, we already heard your bio a little bit, so people know already like what you're doing. But let's get a little deeper. Can you share some formative experience from your childhood or education that shaped your journey in dance, Brian?
Okay, so where to start? My journey in dance, I think, is quite not the typical one. I approached contemporary dance later on, like past my 20s.
Oh.
So I started quite late compared to most of the dancers.
Right.
And so when I was a kid, I always was spending a lot of time with my grandparents. And it's with my grandparents that I got closer to like music and like going to like village festivals. And
But which kind of dance were you doing, like in this festival, or like a ballroom dancing, or just what was it?
yeah, so it's like kind of like a folkloristic couple dance, typical from my region. And it's from...
What's your region again, Brian?
Emilia-Romagna in
from
Italy.
Emilia-Romagna in Italy. Nice.
So yeah, it's the region where Bologna is in. So like, yeah, north Italy.
Tortellini, ravioli.
Yes.
Yes.
Good food. And so I was spending a lot of time with them, and with them I got to know like music and these folkloristic dances, and thanks to them I actually got really passionate about it, and I decided to start having classes dance. But before starting with this folkloristic ballroom, I first decided, okay, let me try ballet. And I was 8 years old. I went to a school, private school there in my place, and I started, but I was the only boy in the class, and I was feeling like a little bit out of place. And even though I liked it, so after like I feel like not even 1 year, I decided to quit. But I still wanted to move to dance, to do something with my body anyway. And And I remember about these folkloristic dances and couple dance, so I decided to continue in that direction. I then entered this ballroom school, and with them I stayed for 10 years. Until I was 20, 21.
Nice.
And I was, dancing with the same partner for over 10 years, basically. So, we were doing these dances like waltz, mazurka, polka.
Nice.
So, but really typical from my region. And, we were, of course, like dancing also for like, I don't know how to call it in English. It's like this festivity, like in the village where there are like stages, but while people are eating and like
fiera. I don't know in English.
Festival.
Yeah, I would say festival.
Yeah, festival. So we were dancing in this like village festival, but also we were dancing like in a kind of competition, like with the Italian Federation. Yeah, a regional one. Also because that type of dance was just this folk called folk romagnolo. It was just specific of my region, so of course was just dance there, and I was training with my dancer, like the other dancer that was with me, that we share like 10 years together. Yeah, so that one I danced this folkloristic ballroom until I was 20, 21, and just at that age I decided to switch, and I started like with contemporary and ballet because I felt that something was missing. I felt that I needed to move my body and to express also myself in a different way that was a little bit more complete. Because ballroom dance, it's beautiful. I love it. But it's kind of like, yes, like specific figures in couple. So you are always attached to the other dancer, and there are just a set of steps that are predefined. You can play, of course, around with it, but there's not in that direction much freedom for the body to move in a different way. And so 2021, so I was quite past like, this like usual
conventional age.
Yes, exactly. And I decided to quit ballroom, and I started having classes in the same school that I started when I was 8, when I did ballet for 1 year almost.
Wow.
So I came back to the same school, then Studio Faenza, and there I had like a quick training of 2 years. So it was like a full immersion, and I was speaking with the director of the school, with Luna, and I was trying to understand with her like what I could do with dance. And for me in that moment was just like a way of like doing something that I liked, that I needed in that moment, but I didn't think of it as something that could have actually
developed into something.
Exactly, developed into something different. And after these 2 years, then intensive training. I was doing ballet and contemporary every day. There I decided to then do it like for real. Yes.
And Brian, because you said like you started doing this like, let's say like super intensive training when you were 20, 21, no? So that means different that probably the three of us, like you until that age, you actually had your normal childhood, your normal teenage years with like being with your friends, going to school, like doing your stuff, like it was everything as is supposed to be. Let's
say that, yes.
I think dancers understand this, but just because for who is not a dancer, I'm saying this because often to go to professional schools, many of us, we have to leave when we're like 11, 12, some of us maybe around 14, 15, but that's mostly the latest, let's say you manage to get into professional school if you want to study professionally, let's say. So I'm a little bit jealous that I don't regret having it done myself, but I always wished
it came with a lot of sacrifices.
Exactly.
Like we skipped a lot of, I'm from here, for example, I never went to a 18th birthday party, and in Italy it's such a big deal.
Exactly.
I never attended one because I always had to go to ballet school.
Did you attend your own?
I had a little dinner with my family because it was,
Aww.
it was just before I had to go and start my first contract. So it's like, it was early September. I was like, okay, let's wrap it up. I need to pack my stuff and start to work.
No.
So it was very fast.
I do wonder what that experience must have been like to go back to, not folk dance, but like contemporary and ballet class, especially at that age. How was that different?
It was not easy, first of all, also because like Francesco was mentioning before, I had a pretty regular life as middle school, high school after that, and university. So when I started with contemporary and ballet, I was in the middle of my university years. So it was also like a challenge in like trying to like divide myself in putting myself fully into pretty big things. Yes, so it was like a challenge to understand also which direction then I wanted to take with it. But at the same time, I believe that having this late approach to contemporary and ballet gave me probably a different and a little bit maybe, how can I say it?
Like a mature approach into your work?
It kind of like a different view.
Richer, maybe.
Yeah, a different view on the dance world in general. I could see, like from the beginning, what are the things that I believe are fair and right for dancers, choreographer, and in general as an artist, and maybe I believe like also because of the many dancers and artists that I met. Probably when you grow up, like since you're like a kid into this really big system, sometimes maybe you don't see all the colors and all the different possibilities
100%.
and all the things that like are around this.
Yeah, they shape, let's say, the professional dance world around us. Yes.
Yeah, that's super brave, I find, to make such a decision to go into dance when, I don't know, we keep being told like it's something you need to start so early. You super succeeded, like getting into like a professional company.
That's what my question is, like, did you have that in mind? Like your goal was that, or you just wanted to connect back to dance?
No, so my goal was not that at all. Also because, like considering what like people usually think is like, if you want to be a dancer, you need to start when you're like 8 years old, like 6 years old, and you train for 12 years, and then you maybe manage to find a company to work with. So me starting at 2021, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I want to do it because I like to do it, and I want to experience this possibility and this way for me to do something that I liked. And so it was not like calculated at all. But when I was in these 2 years of preparation, then speaking also with my teacher, like she told me, it's like, you know what, if you put a lot of work into it, you can do it. And then it was there that I was like, oh, okay.
Nice.
Then
that's incredible.
What? Yeah.
No, sorry, I wanna just enhance like 2 things which are very important for me. First of all, you have done it for your own self fulfillment. First of all, and second part, which is very important, you had a teacher who trusted you like 100%. And I think these 2 things together could be a key sometimes.
Absolutely.
Self-fulfillment and having someone in front of you that really trusts you and gives you that belief that like, if you work like this, I am behind you, you can make it. It's so important in that moment. Please, sorry, continue.
I was saying that it was like, then it was from that moment that I was like, okay, maybe then I can do this. But of course, starting late gave me maybe this more mature approach and vision about the dance world. But at the same time, my body was shaped kind of in a different way. I'm like a fully grown man, and I'm starting like with ballet, contemporary, and doing like physical things that I've never done before. When I was used to dance in the couple dance, like for example, I was never going in the floor. I was never like even stretching, I would say, like, anything like that. It's connected to flexibility, and think my body was already fully form shaped. And that one is something that later on going on in this direction, of course, like I had my problems, if we want to call it like that, but also like little struggle to go on regarding this like physical thing. And at the same time, also starting late is like, I was already in a direction, with my university in product design. I had already I had a vision for what I wanted to do in the direction of design. So suddenly I found myself with two directions at the same time, and I had to like kind of decide what I wanted to do. And in that moment, I went for the dance direction, as I saw in it like a possibility to go a little bit out of my bubble, also like experience like something that was truly what I liked to do in that moment, what I wanted to do in that moment. Also thinking that design, could have been like, something else that I could have possibly done later in time.
Right.
This really much relates to how, you're a choreographer now. And I just wonder, how did it start? How did you like switch into like, I want to become a choreographer? What sparked that passion?
So that passion actually sparkled like not much later from when I moved to Germany, because after leaving like my private school, I got a job here in Dresden, in the Landesbühne in Sachsen dance company. And already after my first year there in the company, I started to have like problem with my hips. So like I had to deal with this big injury, and I had to get operation for both my hips already after 1 year that I was in the company. Because like I was saying before, like my body was really not used to it, and going from not being used to it and like training and performing every week, every day, it was quite a trauma for my body. But in the same year also, I had the possibility to experience the young choreographic evening in the company. And I was like, why not? Let me try this experience. And in that moment, I realized that through choreography, I could also bring back these studies and this university study in product design. I could integrate like what I've learned from a different path and bring it in and mesh it together with dance to create something that was like actually fulfilling me even more than simply like dancing myself as a performer.
Cool.
It's really a full circle. I mean, I had the honor to see your first premiere of your first choreography.
Yes.
It was The Outsider?
Yes.
Is that right? Yes.
Nice.
And for me to have you here is like full circle.
I just want to like jump back what you said about injuries, because it's such a big reality for many dancers. How did your injury actually affect you physically and emotionally? And what helped you get through it? Did you find choreography a way to, I want to say escape, but like, did it help you through? Like, it's something that you got injured, you're like, actually, now I have the time to invest in that, or it came?
I think it's a mix of both. I would say, on one side, of course, like starting having like physical problem immediately after approaching the professional like dance environment was something that it was like, okay, maybe I also have to think in which direction I want to go with it. But at the same time, it's something that came in really parallel at the same time with it. And this injury, of course, gave me the chance with choreography to expand the possibilities of my body through the bodies of other people. So I could like give my steps, for example, like still something like, it's like I was moving through other people. And with it, like after an injury, after operation, you always like, especially in the first months and years after operation, you get like, okay, like you're always aware of it, but you're always like scared. You're also scared like that something can happen again. And choreography, I think, was like at the same time also kind of a good escape from like this struggle that I was getting into with my body and myself. And it was perfect because I could actually expand dance even more and find like, when I left ballroom for contemporary dance and I started performing, for me it was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I feel like I'm doing the right. But then with choreography, it's like I reached the next step with it. So it's like, okay, now I'm doing.
That's so like, beautiful. It must be so empowering and enriching.
Yeah, kind of an evolution. Like
it is kind of like if through choreography you found like an instrument where you could express what you wanted perhaps to, but you didn't manage to fulfill completely just with your dancing because of, unfortunately, of your injuries. But through the choreography, like, you managed to showcase your voice because you could have done it with other people. So then you fulfilled yourself with that, let's say.
Yes.
Really, everything happens for a reason. People, like,
I also believe
the more I grow up, the more I'm like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
So you were dancing in Landesbühnen Sachsen, leaving the company, studied the MA at Palucca for choreography, the master in choreography. How did it come? Like, was it a big decision? What inspired you to take this big step into that?
It was a big decision also because, like, consider that I left the company after 3 years. So it was not much actually that I was in the professional dance world. So it was like I felt like sudden, like, okay, you are changing again. You are transitioning to something else again. So I was scared that it was like maybe sudden for me. I was like, okay, did you take everything that you had to take for yourself as a performer, as a dancer? But at the same time, I was like, I feel that I'm not using my full potential with it. And I'm not reaching that even extra fulfillment that I needed for myself in that moment. So it was not easy, of course, to swap, like, and to quit the company. But I think it was necessary for me to upgrade. That's why I decided to join the master, to get like additional upgrade to create a base for what until that moment was just maybe my intuition, my simple taste, like putting together things how I wanted to do, but without maybe like knowing specific aspects that actually are important, like as a choreographer, especially like how to work with people, how to communicate with people, how to, like in general, how to construct also, like if we want to go in the steps and in the concept.
I have two questions
Yes.
with what you said. The first one was, did you apply for the master and then if you were going to get accepted, you were going to be like, okay, that's meant to be? Because you were waiting, or you left the company and then you were like, okay,
no, if I remember well, there was COVID, right?
Yes.
And we were discussing about it on your balcony.
That was that time.
Yeah, I was discussing with you, it's true. It was like 2020 and I decided to quit the company already before that because I decided to quit the company in October.
Ah, okay.
So my idea was already, I had already the idea to leave, that I knew that I needed to experience something else. And I would have probably, if I didn't found the master in that moment, I would have started like freelancing.
Okay.
But to go in the direction of choreography. So maybe, of course, like starting as a freelance choreographer, but still keeping like dancing as a freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I found the master. It was like
Perfect.
really by chance. And I applied, I think like 2 days before the deadline because I saw it at the last moment. and it worked out. So, I was really excited. It was really
My
happy.
second question is, how many pieces did you create then before deciding, okay, I want to do a master? Like how many pieces it took for you to understand that it was really what you wanted to do?
I understood that already after the first piece. I was like, okay, this is something for me. I still don't know what and when and how it's gonna happen, but this is something for me. And I think after that first piece, same thing like the second year, we had again the possibility for the Young Choreographic Evening. And I kind of like continued the idea of the first piece and I did like a prequel of it with a new duet. And so, yes, I think like probably even another one, always in the context of this Young Choreographic Evening, so I could work with my colleagues. So it was also easier. We had like space, costume department and everything. And so yeah, like 2-3 pieces before the master.
Amazing.
And are the pieces that I could use also for the application because I had to show like also previous work. And yes.
And since, did your masters challenge or change the way you think about creating?
So the master was totally like super helpful for me on many levels. I believe the two things that that are really stuck with me are the fact of like collaborating with people. That's the thing, is like how like collaborating, but also like influence each other, like in the process. So always like kind of open up a little bit to other people, other artists that in that case were my colleagues and the teacher, but also something that I found then also outside, of course. And this is something that until the moment I was always, probably maybe because of my personality or my like way of like being in general, outside also like work and in my private life, I kind of like want to do stuff in my way. I like to have a vision and control over the things. So I know that I'm always scared that something can go wrong or something. So I always try to keep everything there under my watch. And the fact of having other people giving me insight that I could take or also not take, but simply like they were like giving me other perspective, or maybe one word could trigger me another way of a little detail from my work. So I would say absolutely this one. And the second thing was the getting in contact. So especially like contact that might arise from like cooperation. So it was not just in the process of it, how people could help each other, like create new input, but at the same time is connection that continues also after the master, specifically in Palucca, where I've been working also now, and but also like meeting new artists that I'm still collaborating with, and it's a constant, like a continuous collaboration. So in both way, like in the process, like in specifically in the work, but in general, like how it created kind of a net of like connection for me. Yeah.
For every job, I think like the core is like creating a net around you, know?
Oh, yes.
But Brian, tell us a bit more about your choreography. Like what drives the core ideas or themes behind your creations?
So this is a difficult one.
Take your time.
There's not one specific thing that I'm always following. I believe I generally create on a lot of like stories which connect to relationship, that connects to interaction and of people, and the construction of bodies and gestures that connects people. I always like to think about my choreographies as a mix of something that is raw, but also romantic at the same time. There's always something that it always rooted in what I like. It's really giving me like goosebumps. So it's something that is really resonate with me in the pieces, and I'm trying to portray that sensation in my creation. I was speaking with a friend of mine recently, and two things actually. We were with two different friends of mine. One thing was actually I found in my creation kind of a pattern, I would say.
That's interesting.
I realized how going in the order of the pieces that I created from the beginning until now, it's like I was really portraying something that was just happening in my life. Of course, that's through metaphors and like visuals and things, but like if you go in the order of my choreographies, you could really trace my life in the past 5-6 years of choreographing.
That's lovely. Like a time machine.
Like a time machine
with your choreography.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
In some choreographies, even something that it's about to happen in that, in the near like future, like almost like
it's a little bit
mystical.
Voyeur. No, not voyeur. No, how do you call it? How do you call it? The people were fortune
Psychics?
Psychic.
Yes, almost. But it was like actually like when I realized that, and I was like, okay, like so I could say all my creation, they really resonate strictly with my life and what it's happening in my journey.
Imagine how authentic the work is. Actually, that's so beautiful.
Clairvoyant. That was the word.
Oh,
Clairvoyant. And the second thing, actually, that it's something that a good friend of mine, like as an advice, not an advice, actually just like discussing with him, was more like, why do you choose certain things? Why you follow certain direction with it? And I was like speaking about music in that moment. And I was like, yeah, this music, I chose it because it gives me goosebumps when I listen to it. And this person was like, then you see, that's what you have to do. And without doubts and things, just go for it. Because if it gives you goosebumps, it's the right thing to do.
No.
And yeah, so this way of like something that when I think about it, I get emotional, is something that I know it's right. Somehow, even maybe not for everyone, of course, but it's authentic for me. And I believe that being authentic for me can then resonate and find other people that can see the same way.
Yeah, I have a question about this because I have a lot of people around me who are choreographers as well. And many times we had a lot of talks and etc. And for me, it is a very hard job to be a choreographer, to be honest, and I don't think I will ever be able to be one. But just because I think through your work, you have to also be very vulnerable and connecting to what you were saying, no? About like choosing the things you want to do and decide to put them on stage. And because it is your voice, it's a part of you that you are speaking about, whatever it is. It could be sentimental, it could be political, it could be about relationship, it could be about culture, it could be about society, it could be about anything, but yet it's a vision that you have inside that you're trying to portray outside. Therefore, I think you have to be very vulnerable to do that. And I also know how challenging this is, because it is not always easy to trust yourself 100% to say like, I feel this way, because I love this music, or I love this and I want to do this, so I put it on stage. I know that it doesn't work like this because there are so many self-doubt and so many, people are afraid of the judgment, of course, like maybe some things are not quite what other people expect, what the audience expect, it's very challenging. So
yeah, it is. I also judge myself in the process,
I'm sure,
it's a constant judge and fear of being judged at the same time.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, it's like a mirror of my daily life, everything. So of course, like when I decide to put out something, it's something that maybe I'm like investing time, and I deep inside believe it's right for me to put it out. Like maybe the daily life, when I say something, when I speak with someone, that is because I want to say those things.
Yeah.
But this is something also that I believe it's like kind of a principle of mine in a way. It's the fact that, many people in general, they always think about dance and choreography as like a language. This is my language as a choreographer is the thing. But as a language, as I always saw it as like handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And and when you write things, you write thing when you know what you want to write, or if you have something. You don't write random letters in a paper, or you start writing like one word there. In the same way, I believe that choreography, in the way that I do it, it's something that I want to put out, and it has a meaning behind. I'm doing it for a purpose. Otherwise, I would not, like, even outside, I would not write random things on a piece of paper, or just passing something and I write something on a wall. I'm writing because I need to write it. He has a purpose. He has a meaning. He has something like deeper than that.
And you feel like
if
sharing
it makes sense.
And you feel like sharing it also. I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
also
Yeah,
very
exactly.
important.
And this also is how you keep the dancer inspired. Like I work with some choreographers that they have no clue. It's like, okay, let's create. And then I'm okay with creating from impro task, but it was without task. And it's just, then I feel you kind of lose the dancer, really, the trust. And like, do you have something to say, Mr. Choreographer, or not? Or Miss Choreographer?
Let's say when all the reliability is given just to the dancers, but from the other side, maybe there is not so much direction. Because I'll be too, like, sometimes I'm fine of like, creating works where, okay, it's impro, I have to try to create myself, okay, but it's good to have still a direction, like,
yeah, what he was saying, a handwriting, like if you don't know where to go, but you know what we are gonna talk about, Or what's the purpose of us being in the studio? Great, I'm fine.
If there is a concept, if there is something.
But exactly how he
yeah.
said, like, if it's not, it's like handwriting for real. Like, if you don't have an understanding of what you're gonna say, how can you write it or explain it to other dancers?
Yeah.
So,
But this is something that was also in general, like it happened, you know, like in process and in general, like it happened to me also that sometimes it was asked of me is like, just do something, just more like that, or just do something, whatever. And for me, it's hard, and not that hard. Maybe I could even do it, you know, it's not in that way, but it's just like, I find it a bit meaningless. I find it a little bit superfluous. It doesn't go deep. It doesn't reach any level. It stays there for me in the way that
It's movement.
it just becomes just movement there. Like in a paper, it's just letters, but it's how you put them together and the sequence that you put them one after the other one that can give like a meaning.
Unless you tell me like, I don't want to do anything specific, I just need people to move around.
But
But
that's
that-
at
yeah,
least
but
there's a direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You know,
but that's what I mean.
you're
At least-
experimenting.
At least if they would say this, at least you know, like, okay, so we're just experimenting, us moving around, and that's the purpose of why we're doing this. Cool. We're digging.
Actually, related to that, you know, since this comes into more like being inspired by the dancers, how do you do that in your work? Do you find that you get inspired by the dancers that you work with?
It's also here, I think it's a mix. I see it really as like a cooperation. So I generally prepare at home, like a structure, a concept for it, like a general idea of what I want to portray and how I want to portray it. And of course I get in the studio, and in the studio I'm coming, let's say in a 60%, 70% with my material to offer, but I still leave space for some material to create in the moment with them, or even through little tasks, and even the material that I propose to the dancer, and we can work it together, we can adapt it. And I love actually to find like dancers that can take my material and make it even better. You know, it's like improve it. Yeah. And that is something that it's really, really important for me.
I have a question regarding your last choreography you did for Palucca.
Yes.
That I loved and adored so much.
Thank you.
And it was super fascinating for me. So as the piece unrolled and went on, it was coming towards the end. And then when it ended, I was like, I wonder if it's gonna end in that way. And then it did. I don't know. For me, it was so mind blowing. I was like, this is like my first reaction. I think I had next to me a colleague from Semper. I was like, this is genius. Like the way it ended, that he took the headphones out, I was like, no. So my question is,
yes.
Did it happen while you were creating in the studio? You were like, actually, we could finish this way, or you knew from the top that you want to start it and end it in that way, and everything else happened in between?
So it was in that direction. So I knew in which way I wanted to finish the creation. I still needed to check specifically with which movement and which prop in that case. And it happened in the studio. So I was in the studio, I was trying things with the dancers and with my assistant there. And we were trying a few things that I proposed, and we were trying together. And something was a little bit off for me. It was not reaching like the spot that I wanted to, and thinking about it, and also a little bit a mix of practical reason with the music and everything. I then went for like, okay, let's try maybe something a little bit out of the box, but still in the concept, in the constellation, because it was a piece set it in a museum. So I was like, okay, what do we have in a museum that I can use, that I can try to integrate in the piece to also give that extra layer to the piece? It's something that, it came together with it, but so it was important for me.
Because the movement was there, the idea, it was so great. Like, the first thing I told you when I saw you was like, we need to get in the studio together. Like, we need to create together. I was, oh my God.
I was crying as usual.
It was so good.
Actually, when you create I feel like it's normal
Yeah.
for anyone to have a creative block.
Oh my god.
And I remember we've spoken about it a
Yes,
few times.
we did.
So would you mind sharing a bit your experience and how you deal with it?
Yeah. In the process, I pass different stages. So which they repeat every time, like the same way. So a few months before the creation, I get ideas, I put them down, I'm really excited about it. Then it approaches the time of arriving in the studio where I'm trying to put together actually, like to get like a little bit more concrete in the creation. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it can work. Let's go for it. I have no other choice now. I have to start. I start and then I get like in the moment, the first days are always like quite quick and fast and I get excited about it. And then every time I reach a moment when I start doubting everything that I've been doing and I'm like, questioning music, questioning like direction, dramaturgy and everything until I arrive maybe at the final rehearsal together where I'm like, okay, this can work. I can make it work. It's gonna work. And arrive at the light is like, yeah, I'm really excited. I have everything planned for the light. After light, I'm again doubting everything. It's like, I don't know what I've done because I see it on stage and the light, I'm doubting my, maybe choices for the light because I really believe that lights, costume, everything can make but also destroy, kind of not destroy, but change the result of a piece. But then after the premiere, I'm so proud and I'm so excited that every time no, but every time, like, it happened, I think every time where I sit there and then the premiere and in specific moments I get my goosebumps and I'm like, okay, then it's right.
That's nice.
It's good. And I get this excitement for the few days and then it's where actually the lowest part, I reach the lowest part is after in the moment when also this excitement for a premiere or a creation is gone, is there where I usually have the biggest block. I feel like for like maybe a month or two until the next moment where I have to think is the moment that I'm like, okay. And now like I didn't do anything until that moment, you know. It's like I'm resetting, I reset. It's like I'm starting again from zero and I'm like in this like vastity of like possibilities that I'm not taking and yeah.
Brian, with your background in product design, you create costumes and set for your pieces as well, right?
Yes. So costumes and sets and in general visuals, they are a big part of my work. I really think they are the same thing. They are one thing that comes together. Costume specifically, it's something that, especially the design of it, and I like to sketch costumes. I'm sketching the costumes of my creation and I always try to design them in a way that can support the idea and the concept, of course, of my piece. And I always try to also create kind of like a line with all the different creation and all the different costume in a way that they can be like kind of recognizable in an aesthetic of it. And I like to play with different materials. So there's always like also research on which type of material could convey a specific idea, a specific sensation or visual at the same time.
Because you're also attracted to fashion in a way, no? Like, or you try to integrate always a little bit of like inspirations, let's say.
This is like, it's like my guilty pleasure outside. Choreography is something that I like to watch runways. I like to watch collection and get inspired by that. At the same time, find like perfect way of, it's a narration, also like the way of like building costumes and giving shapes to the body and to the movements. That is what we do then in choreography. Like Michela Murgia, like for your love. Like Michela Murgia would say that, you know, l'architettura i costumi sono l'architettura più prossima al corpo. And in the same way, translated in English, it's like how like costumes, they are like the closest architecture to the body. So it's how costumes integrated to the body and to the movements, they create one thing together. It's like one layer on top of the other one, but at the end of it, they are the same. They are the same thing.
Yes. Lovely. But Brian, moving on, like you've been navigating the freelance scene both as a performer and a choreographer now since 2 years, no? And we know that freelancing comes with its own challenges, no? How do you handle the mental and emotional pressure of being an emerging choreographer?
That's a lot of pressure. Yes. It's hard. It's actually harder than what I thought it would be. I believe that, becoming and being a freelance dancer, it's really hard. And being a choreographer, probably it's even harder because the possibilities are even less. And especially as a choreographer, I think it's like the choreographic direction is still not really developed in the way I believe it should be developed, in a way that everything and everyone, they just get commissioned just by connection and contact. There's almost no other way for you to just like really get something without getting some connection or being in contact and knowing one person that can introduce you to another person. And so it's something that I find it a bit like also like sad for the work that we put into. As a dancer, you have auditions, you have the possibility at least to present yourself, to send your thing and to show you like they're in the space and they can see you and they can see you together at the same time with other dancers, but also even individually, they can see you and they can experience you. But as a choreographer, companies are not putting out open call.
Yeah,
they're not putting out like way of like for especially new choreographers to enter in the field.
Right.
And this is already a block, because if companies would like make open calls, they have like a few production a year, even if they want to invite someone already through contact or no, like, but even reserving one production a year per company where they can put out an open call, choreographers can apply, even open call with a theme, specific theme, and like choreographers can apply and have the possibility, so they can have all the possibility and choose according to what they need. It's not just a decision that is made before ended, like that is like already decided, but without actually even seeing what else is there.
Yeah, I've heard actually there are some companies who are doing that. I know some in the US, like the Win-Win company, for example.
Yes.
They do this kind of thing, which I really love. Basically that they do an open call, let's say, for a program. And they invite a choreographer to apply. And then it works that the dancers of course, it's a smaller company, but I love the system. I think it's something that more companies could think more here in Europe as another way, let's say, to choose choreographers. So the dancers are coming together and choosing the choreographers they would like to work with. And then they agree together with the director, which are the chosen choreographer there for this evening. I think it's a beautiful democratic way sometimes to...
Yes. That's such a concept.
It's such a concept because it allows first the choreographer to apply, and second allows the dancers also to choose like what is their interest, on which choreographer they would like to work with. I think it's so powerful. Actually.
That's amazing. I would love to do
but the sad part is that just a small, really, like you have some exception like this.
Yes.
But if you actually look around, you don't have these possibilities, and as a choreographer, it gets hard, especially if, and this, I think, like, I'm speaking for my case, I didn't have a long background in the dance field.
Yes.
As a professional dancer. And many choreographers, there are also people approaching choreographer, or they've danced many years in companies, they had like they had the possibility to work with a lot of directors, a lot of choreographers, meet a lot of dancers.
So they have connections.
So exactly.
That's what you mean, yeah.
And in my case, for me, it was also harder in that way. I didn't have all the previous connection. I didn't have all those possibilities. But counting that in the world there are all types of stories, all types of backgrounds, and this thing, then it's really limiting.
Coming back to creativity, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received about art or creativity? From a mentor, a dancer, or assistant?
A friend.
Yeah.
But I would repeat what what I said before. I think it's the thing of like following what gives you goosebumps. For me, was the thing that is like, that one is the thing, because I received many advices, I received many things, but it's like, it's something that at the end of it, it's what is like, okay, then I know, at least it's something that I know, okay, I'll follow that, and I know that something right is gonna come out of it.
It's coming back to yourself and your own instinct.
Yeah. And for me, sometimes I feel so sad when I suffer a little bit with them. When I have friends, choreographer, and maybe they do a piece and then they're not satisfied about it. They're not happy, or they, they blame themselves because they haven't done a good job. And for me, this is really hard as a friend, to support. These moments are very hard because no matter what's the outcome for me or whatever, then the dance critics or whatever, I know that there are people putting really a lot of effort. And again, I repeat, it's really not an easy job for me to be a choreographer, especially with lots of competition. There are so many voices, so many things. So, still to decide and say like, I still want to do this. It's very challenging.
This is one of the things I'm glad for social media. There was a small reel or video that they posted that I saw. It was Killian speaking to the dancers. It was two young choreographers that did this piece, and Killian was saying it's the mistakes. Those are the ones that make you improve and learn. It's just the mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, wow, it's so true.
It's very hard to overcome mistakes sometimes.
Yeah.
So, Brian, moving on. What advice would you give to aspiring choreographers, for example, as you are, who struggle with creative confidence? So, following,
which advice? I also would need advice.
Like, I know, but if let's say I would be also a young choreographer, maybe in my 20s, and I'm just approaching this and we would have a conversation together. If I would be struggling and a little bit like, I don't know, not knowing how to proceed and if to really do this or not, what would you say to me? Like, as a convincing, not even convincing me, because maybe you don't need to convince me, but like, let's say to support.
Give me the confidence to start.
To support my idea of trying to become a choreographer, let's say.
This is a hard one. Also.
It's very hard.
I think it's a mix of like, of course, what it was said to me, to follow this emotional instinct of your, like, of what you feel inside about your work. But at the same time, I would also say to them to do the thing in a way that it is, yes, for you, but anyway, having the back room of your head that is also for someone else outside. So it's a little bit of like a mix of the two. Of course, the core is that you need to be satisfied with it and fulfilled in the core, but at the same time, find a way to irradiate this thing outside and think that you're doing it for other people at the same time. Otherwise, you would just do it in your room and you would just keep it there, or you would just do it for yourself. You would not have decided to go and work as a choreographer, presenting works and putting yourself like for like there for people, to judge you, to like see it like in general. So also having the back room of your head that you're doing it also for other people.
I think that's very nice.
Absolutely.
In general, it's a very nice thought.
Should we move on to the five last
Let's
question we always ask to every guest? So the first one is, if you could collaborate with any artist, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
Okay. I would not mention a specific artist, so I will deviate a little bit from the question, but I'm like my new obsession at the moment. I would love to collaborate with the film production house, which is A24. Like movies like Midsummer, Moonlight, Euphoria.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm really passionate about visuals and like something that with images can narrate and can convey a lot of specific intentions and emotion. This mix is also what I'm trying to do in my work and this multidisciplinary approach. And it would be so cool, like one day to be able to create something, direct something movement-wise for like film and movies. And
we wish that for you.
Yes. Reach out.
And so Brian, because the dance world is also a very unique, self-contained art form.
Yes.
And often, it's thriving in its own bubble. But we also know that, to stay relevant, at some point it must adapt and connect with broader cultural shifts, no?
Yeah.
In your opinion, what should we invest in, whether it is technology, education, or collaboration, to ensure that dance remains a living, evolving art form for future generations?
I believe also this one, it's kind of a loop, so it goes circular, but I believe, of course, in education as a starting point, but education and anyway, in general, in the dance world, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, I believe it's important to remind people in the dance world that they are human beings before being dancers.
Right.
So it's important that they remember for the whole process or the whole career that they're first people and then also dancer. They're also dancer, but they have lives outside of the studio. They have many things. And this, I believe, is the thing that can allow dance to still be relevant, because our lives evolves outside in general, evolves with the passing of time. They changed, we change dynamic, we change thing. But if we keep the dance world kind of like stuck in a old format, in an old way of dealing with everything without possibility of adapting and changing, is never gonna be like good, like it's not gonna be relevant
It's
going
be
on. It's not gonna be updated.
Yeah.
And the fact that also the audience, together with the dancers and with the people performing, also their lives goes on and it changes, it mixes new technology, new collaboration, new things, so I believe they can perceive like if the work on stage becomes authentic and relatable for them.
Yes, but at the same time, there is also a very big part of the audience that's what also
And the
they
nostalgic?
love. No, it's not about being nostalgic, but they love the fact that they want to forget about their lives. They don't want to see a mirror when they go to the theater. They want to see a fantastic world. They want to see a world where they can sit and they can just fantasize and
They want to be entertained.
They want to be entertained, but also like really has a fantasy. They don't want to see the news. They don't want to see like the mirror of the reality they're already living in. They want to go in another place. They want to go like in a supernatural, like just not existing imaginary world. No.
Yeah.
So I think that's the challenge. I think.
Yeah, that's the challenge. But still, it's still makeable because you can portray whatever on stage, even like a fantastic world or anything. But it's about the performers then on stage, in the way they can perform it, in the way they can deliver certain things, certain emotion that can be close to their own life at the same time. I believe like dance, like a lot of dancers in general, like they forget that and they are stuck into this system which like treats them in a specific way, and they believe that the only way to do this is just by following this strict like way of being like in the studio, and this being strict and close-mindedness coming from above can also block possible collaborations with artists, with new media, with new possibilities. When you're dancing, how can I say it? I'm gonna have to say it better. Please, advice. Keep on study other things at the same time and make sure that your life is still there and it doesn't depend on that, because when in some point it's gonna end somehow, I'm speaking about professional dancing career,
yes.
Of course. And your only option is not just to become a teacher or become a choreographer or transition and stay in the same thing. You can always find many ways. And if you in the past have collaborated with other things and you've seen many realities, you've seen
even
many
just being
things.
Interested.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading books, watching
for sure.
Yes.
Just having another. We also with Federico Frigo, I think we talked about this, right? We really talked about this topic, and Federico said exactly the same thing.
So, talking about challenges, have you ever experienced a moment, whether during a project or a specific situation, where you felt confident and secure, but something or someone made you feel a bit out of place or caused your confidence to go down a bit?
Yes,
and how?
It happened. It happened, and I think I'm also evolving with it. So if I think back at how I was maybe reacting to this situation, I was getting just purely emotional and purely crushed under these comments and whatever it was. But I was still maybe standing up for myself at the end of it. And this is what I'm also slowly learning. So it's a process also for me to try to understand that this situation maybe can happen and they are out of my control, because depending on other people as well. So it's just how I deal with it, and I'm trying to just take them there, analyze them, take what I have to take, and then throw it away in that way. But I have to say, every time, after these moments of maybe not really happy for me, I was always analyzing what I was doing, and I was trying to also see myself as okay, maybe you've done something wrong. Maybe you didn't deal with this thing in the best way. So I was always trying anyway to analyze myself. So I wasn't putting myself down, because I was not just saying, oh no, it's your fault, it's not mine. I was trying to analyze myself. And this thing also was giving me kind of reassurance, because I knew, and I know that I'm trying to be correct for as much as I can and as much as possible, and I'm pursuing that way of doing it in the way that I believe it's right and it's fair, because my mantra is treat other people in the same way you want to be treated. So I'm always trying to follow that direction. So at the end of it, I'm at peace now with those moments. But
good. I mean, you're still very young, so it's good if you manage to overcome those challenges already.
Yes.
Closing up and going towards the end, I want to ask you, what is success to you?
Oh. Success. I would say a mix of being fulfilled and knowing that you are doing what you want to do and in the way that you want to do it. And of course, success maybe can also implicate so a mix also with an impact. I believe it's important. It's not important, but success, I see success as being, happy with yourself and fulfilled, but at the same time being able and you manage to leave an impact on other people, on your audience. And so I believe in the mix of these two, fulfillment and impact on people.
That's good.
And is it any different from how you imagined it when you first started?
So I didn't actually have like a clear vision of how it would be. It is definitely longer. It's taking longer than what I thought. Maybe also because I was used to switch things quite rapidly. It's hard. I think it's hard, and I didn't envision it in a specific way, but I think it's like getting in a direction that I like. I still feel it's not there yet. Like, it's not still the end of this direction. So I still believe it can take some turn and twist along the way. But still like going into this level up. That is my previous background. Yes.
Brian, thank you so much. Closing, I want to ask you, what's next for you? Do you have a new project coming up? Are you going to stage some of your choreography soon anywhere?
Yeah, so next coming up, in the next month, I will present again my last creation that I did in Palucca for galas and events here in Dresden and outside here in the surrounding of Dresden. After that, a new short creation with Francesco and Serafina for the Societätstheater.
Serafina Detcher is also a freelance dancer here in Dresden.
And after that, other presenting, maybe I have a new work now, a new duet that I've been actually recorded. I recorded it yesterday. So it's almost ready to be presented. And after summer, I will then dive into new creation and
Well, great then. Then thank you, Anastasia. Thank you, Lorenzo. And,
Thank you, Brian.
And of course, thank you, Brian.
Thank you for coming and joining us for an
Yes, it was
episode.
very inspiring.
Very, very inspiring.
So,
You can find the link
yes,
to
you can
Brian's
also find-
website.
go check my website and my Instagram page.
exactly. Go check his page. There's everything like down in the caption. Also, if you check on us on Instagram, you find everything there. Thank you all for listening. See you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.
Kunst. And all.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any artful updates. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Kunst and all for more content. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to reach out and share your feedback. We are Lorenzo, Anastasia, and Francesco. Until next time, stay kunstig.
Amazing.